Bijan Robinson will be a Philadelphia Eagle. That is my prediction. That is one of my, most cemented in predictions for the 2023 NFL Draft that is incoming, that will be live during the entire first round on Thursday, the hour before, the hour after, everything in between. Your boy will be here for you. I want you to be here. A 6-hour live stream. Just us hanging out, evaluating every single pick, predicting things before it begins, talking about it after it happens. We're doing it live tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fantastic. But this show right here is talking about the Bijan Robinson landing spot, which I believe will be the Eagles for a lot of different reasons, but this is going to happen. And we're going to be here for it. I want everybody to file in. Let me know what you think. Let's roll. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Bijan Robinson will be a Philadelphia Eagle. Why do I say that? A lot of different reasons. James says tragedy if he goes to Philly. No tragedy, my friend. A lot of good usage. Offensive line's amazing. Situation's going to be off the chain. Dude's going to be number one overall at the end of the year for all RBs in Philly. This is going to be absolutely a phenomenal landing spot if it happens. Now, there's a lot of reasons why I think this is going to go down. Number one, first and foremost, Bijan Robinson has visited 2 teams. He's visited 2 teams during this draft process in person. One of which was the Philadelphia Eagles. The other was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These are the only 2 teams that Bijan has gone to and physically visited the facility and the team and the club. He's done a lot of Zoom and virtual meetings, but he's gone to Philly, he's gone to Tampa. Okay, that's number one. That's clue number one that he's going to Philly, or he's got a real strong desire to go to Philly. Philly's got a real strong desire to have him land in Philly. And there's a lot of people that think, oh, well, maybe they just wait until this pick 30. That's not going to happen. People that say, oh, Dallas is going to give him a 26. That's not going to happen. Bijan falling into the mid-20s. Bijan Robinson isn't falling into the mid-20s. Bijan Robinson isn't falling into the top of 20. The Ravens, there's news today that the Ravens potentially could trade up and try and grab Bijan. They're at pick 22. Does anybody get the sense, this Ravens team at pick 22, does anybody get the sense that maybe his value's back in the top 10, 11, 12? I do. We started to feel a couple, weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, this thing started to take a turn to where it felt like Bijan's value was falling back into the old, teams just don't take RBs early. Smitty, teams don't draft running backs early anymore. Why do you think Bijan's a top 10 running back? We get a couple random Richards that come strolling in here, confused Caleb's. They come right in and they say things like, Smitty, why do you think Bijan's going high? Don't you know that running backs don't go early anymore? Teams don't value RB, Smitty. As if we don't understand what time it is. This is something that we deal with every single year. We're not morons. But Bijan's different. Bijan's generational. Bijan's arguably, in some intelligent people's minds, the number 1 overall player in the entire draft. If you're smart, he's your number 1 overall player. Why? He's generational. He's generational. He's different. He's not your average prototypical running back that's got elite skill sets here, good skill sets here, decent skill sets here, elite skill sets here. He is absolutely across the board the most polished running back we've seen come out of college in the last handful of years. I would say even more polished than Adrian Peterson was coming out of college. And if you run your mouth right now and say that's not true, you are remembering history how you want to, because I was here for it. I was reporting on it from a professional perspective, pushing back on the industry, which was halfway against Adrian Peterson. No one's against Bijan. Nobody. Everybody loves Bijan. Everybody. He's not sneaking up on anybody. He's not under the radar at all. Everyone loves him. We love him more. You say you love Bijan more, I'm going to go love him even more. You say he's their number 3, I'm going to say he's number 1. We're going to love him more than you. Believe me, okay? Whoever's watching, you random Richard out there, we're loving him more than you do. But nobody dislikes this guy. Nobody's predicting bust. Adrian Peterson, if you don't remember correctly, let me explain it to you. Adrian Peterson was doubted by 50% at least of the people that were evaluating him, scouting him, talking about him from a fantasy football perspective. 50% of the fantasy football industry, and it was a much smaller industry back then, doubted him. Your boy said top 1 to 5. I could see it. He was the number 1 player in the entire draft. It's not always an offensive player. Sauce Gardner in his draft class was my number 1 overall player in the entire draft class. Love Sauce Gardner. It doesn't have to be offense. I am open-minded to defensive players being the best prospects in an NFL draft class. I truly am. But when I see a generational talent like Bijan, it's different. He's way more polished than any player that's come out of college that I can really even remember. Barkley was phenomenal. AP to me was phenomenal, but again, half the industry did not think AP would make it. Half the industry said AP's too tall. He runs too upright. He's not going to be able to last at the NFL level. These were things that were circulating everywhere. No one's saying Bijan's not going to make it. Bijan's very, very much, very well liked, very well prospected. And his value's gone all over the place. Peterson was drafted number 7. He should have been number 1. And in fantasy, everybody and their mother either loved him or hated him from a fantasy football perspective. Some of you were sharpening your diapers when this was going on. I was there for it. I'll tell you firsthand. As far as Bijan going in the top 10, this is where people come in. These random Richards, these casual Calebs, and they say, but Smitty, he can't go in the first 10 picks, can he? Yes, he can. And I believe he will. I don't think the Eagles are messing around. Think about it from this perspective. I'm coming to an even greater point. In fact, let's jump to it right now. When asked on ESPN if Bijan could play with any QB, his answer was Jalen Hurts. He is visited with 2 teams. Those 2 teams, as mentioned earlier in or at the top of my show, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Bucks. The only 2 teams he's visited with. Who would you rather play with, or what quarterback do you want to play with the most? Jalen Hurts. How many teams have you visited with? 2. Who were they? Eagles and Bucks. Who do you want to play with? Jalen Hurts. What's the vibe in Philly from the team? They want Bijan Robinson. What's the most logical way to keep Jalen Hurts healthy? The guy they just paid a bunch of money? Bijan Robinson. What team is unorthodox? What team doesn't care what other people think that will take Bijan Robinson where he's deserving to be drafted? The Philadelphia Eagles. This is in my opinion,
Motion detected at the front door.
In my opinion, this is the easiest pick to make if you're the Philadelphia Eagles at this number 10 overall draft selection. There is no other pick to make. This is the pick that helps the franchise get over the I don't know, you could call it the hump because they made it all the way to the big dance, almost won the Super Bowl, a play away essentially from that game going in that direction. But this is the team that is going to do something that other teams don't have the balls to do. And there's so many Philly haters out there that just can't see straight. They're just so bent out of shape about Philadelphia. A lot of it is they're a fan of another fan base, and they just don't like Philly because Philly made it to the big dance. If Philly drafts Bijan, and I think Philly is smart enough to know this, if they draft Bijan where he wants to go, with the quarterback he wants to play with, this team is unstoppable. Not only does the Philadelphia Eagles become unstoppable on the offensive side of the football with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Goddard, Jalen Hurts running the ball, Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. Defenses trying to spy on where Jalen Hurts is. Now you inject the best running back to come out of college in the last 10 years. You tell me how this doesn't make the Eagles unstoppable. It makes them completely just unstoppable is the only word you can really use. The only thing that could rain on this parade is there is a little buzz about the Falcons saying, well, we'll just take him at 8. And that puts Caleb, casual Caleb into a tizzy. Smitty, I'm just getting used to the idea that you think Bijan could be a top 10 running back. He's a running back, Smitty. Top 10 overall pick. He's a running back, Smitty. Haven't you watched the NFL draft? Teams don't like running backs, Smitty. I just got used to the idea you're going to put him at 10. Now you're telling me the Falcons might take him at number 8? This is absolutely crazy, Smitty. This is the only thing that could stand in the way. The Raiders aren't taking him. They franchised Jacobs, who obviously franchise tag Jacobs, who obviously is bitter, upset. I don't blame him. He's trapped in a horrible situation in a Raiders uniform with Jimmy G quarterbacking. This guy Jacobs gave them explicit instructions. Jacobs said, "Do not franchise tag me." And it's not like he has a say, but do not franchise tag me unless we're loading up and going for a championship. AKA a la Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams, then I'll be on board. Call me if we're going that direction. If not, please let me go. What do the Raiders do? Franchise tag him. We're going for it. We're reloading. Jimmy G, come on in. Poor Jacobs. So the Raiders aren't doing it. Lions would definitely take him, but probably at 18, not at 6. So there is, the Cardinals could trade down to try and take him, I think, but they won't take him at 3. It is, the threat point is 8, 9, 10. The Bears could still take him. The Falcons are just higher, so I mentioned them first. The Bears could still take him. This is Bijan Rowe. We've been mentioning Bijan Rowe all offseason. We coined it Bijan Rowe. Why do we call it Bijan Rowe? Because at one point before Jacobs was franchise tagged, and just because the Lions may have the balls to do it, it's possible. But at this point, we don't feel it. But we did once think that he could go to any one of these teams right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight picks, and that is an unusual string and row of teams. And this is why we coined it Bijan Rowe. It's just straight down. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the Raiders seem out. The Lions seem a little too early. But Bijan Rowe is still very much in play. It didn't seem to be about a month ago. It's back, baby. And the news cycle is helping make this less of a stigma is the problem. Now, where do all the other running backs for the casual Caleb that still can't wrap his head around this? He thinks RBs can't go early. He can't. This is different. This is a different player. Casual Caleb doesn't understand. He doesn't understand. But casual Caleb needs to understand and comprehend that the RB value will likely return to the normal range of 27, 28, 32, 35, 38. And so if it does return to that normal range here for Gibbs and Charbonnet, nothing's changed in the world other than, hey, timeout. Bijan's different. He goes early, return to normal. Gibbs at 27, 28, 29, 30. Charbonnet at 33, 34, 35, 36. Wouldn't shock me if Bijan went 10 and we didn't have an RB go in round 1. It wouldn't shock me if we ended the night going, we got to really wait to see where Gibbs and Charbonnet are going to go. That wouldn't shock me at all. That wouldn't shock me one single bit. If we ended the night kind of depressed that Gibbs and Charbonnet, we'll have to wait until the next day to find out where they're going. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest. That is a return to normalcy of this. Oh, let's devalue the running back. Let's not respect the running back. However, some teams, a handful of teams, have said that they like Jahmyr Gibbs better than Bijan. So I imagine a couple teams will, like the Buffalo Bills, which would be amazing, like the Cincinnati Bengals, which would be amazing, the Philadelphia Eagles, if they don't go with Bijan here or get sniped by the Bears or Falcons for Bijan, that the Cincinnati Bengals go Charbonnet or Jahmyr Gibbs. These are all KC, some say, would be amazing. The KC would be good, but I don't know. I'd rather Pacheco's there. Pacheco's there, and if they don't recognize Pacheco's role, what makes you believe they will commit to the next running back they take at 31 again? Just like they took last time around with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, didn't use him. What makes you think Gibbs or Charbonnet is going to be fully committed to by this team who's done it before? So ultimately, my thinking is I don't want KC for that reason. Philly, Cincinnati, Buffalo, as I've mentioned all week long, if these amazing landing spots, the best landing spots in fantasy football, the best landing spots in the National Football League for RBs, Chicago, Philly, Cincinnati, Buffalo, if these spots end up being where Bijan Robinson, Zach Charbonnet, Jahmyr Gibbs end up landing, I'm going to be ear to ear on draft day, on draft night. Hopefully at least two of these guys are landed and in their homes, ready to rumble for the 2023 season by the end of the first round. I don't anticipate all three of the RBs will have gone. I think that if we're lucky, we will have seen two of the RBs get drafted before the night is over. And in that case, I truly believe that one of them will be in one of these homes. I'm hoping that two of them will be in two of these homes, and I will pass out on the live stream live if we get Bijan, Gibbs, and Charbonnet to land, even if it's an extension into the next day. I will pass out on the live stream if we call this right, and all three of these guys land in one of these spots. Atlanta is a tier break below. These are the elite. This is the near elite spot right here. And so, ultimately, end of day, Bijan Rowe hopefully takes care of Bijan. Right in here, 8, 9, 10. Bijan goes there. Hopefully, in this, we'll call this, I guess, Charbonnet row or Jahmyr Gibbs row. Hopefully, Buffalo, Cincy, or Philly takes care of one of those RBs there. So that is kind of where my mind is going. Bijan wants to play in Philly. Bijan's visited Philly. Bijan's only visited two teams. Bijan's been asked point blank, who do you want to play with? Jalen Hurts. It's all lining up. And the Philadelphia Eagles are bold enough. They're a bold enough team to say, I don't care what the norm is. I don't care what kind of negative connotation. I don't care what kind of bad light your team's put in. If you draft a RB in the top 10, this isn't what happens. Who cares what happens? How about you draft the best player in the entire NFL draft class? How about you do that? Who's willing to do that? The Philadelphia Eagles. Who gets hated on for no reason at all? Because you're a fan of another team, another fan base? The Philadelphia Eagles get hated on. Who's going to step outside the box and do what other teams won't do? And in hindsight, it's going to look like the most amazing draft selection that a team could have made. It's going to be Adrian Peterson all over again. The fact that teams skipped on Adrian Peterson one after another, the most clear as day top pick in the entire draft. Well, there were two or three guys you could say were pretty amazing, but Adrian Peterson to me was generational, beyond generational. And this guy Bijan is my number one overall prospect. Coming from a guy that does respect the defense, does respect Sauce Gardner, did have Sauce Gardner ranked number one in his draft class. Bijan Robinson is going to Philly. That's my prediction. It's happening, and it feels like everything is lining up for it to happen. If it doesn't, we hope that these are the landing spots for these three RBs, and obviously Bijan included. These are it. These are the cream of the crop landing spots. These are where we want the players to fall. So let's roll. Let's ride. We got how do you become a part of the Discord? Get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com, my guy, and click on the Discord tab in the top right corner of the site, my man. And while you're there, guys, subscribe to the best content in fantasy football, the best rankings, the best bold predictions, trade calculator, the one-on-one text line, which is at thefantasyfootballshow.com. So if you want one-on-one text advice with your man right here, this is where you get it, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Now, we're going to go on over to the phone line where we've got Scuba Steven. Scuba Steven, what are you thinking, pal? Is Bijan Robinson a Philadelphia Eagle come this time tomorrow? Well, a little after this time tomorrow.
Man, it would be pretty nice, but man, I hope not, man, because I have a future. I have a future that he goes to the Chicago Bears, but I mean, but if he does go to the Eagles, I think that'd definitely be pretty good for his fantasy value, especially playing with Jalen Hurts. It definitely line everything up for him and be a good mobile quarterback. But for me, I'm just hoping that he goes plays with Justin Fields. I mean, I'm a little biased. Like I said, I picked that future right after they got rid of David Montgomery. That maybe that was the whole point of them trading down, thinking that they can get Bijan. But what you're saying too is that you circled it in as the Falcons. One thing that I guess I could say that I'm hoping is that even though if they're saying that, is that maybe like one of these quarterbacks fall, and then maybe they go after like a quarterback or something.
Yeah, I mean anything could happen, bro. But Chicago is definitely one of those teams that I feel, is really, in the mix. Let me get this.
Will he be bossed or fired?
I got a couple different things going on. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, the Bears. I mean, they're definitely they're two teams that I think are going to be looking to be a little unorthodox, do their own thing, not worry about what other teams do, not worry about what history tells them they should do. Chicago Bears are one of them. They're the next stop. This isn't Bijan Row, my man, and they are sitting in front of the Eagles. So Falcons Bears can be they could rain on parades. They could rain on a parade here. The Eagles are just probably licking their chops to get them at 10. Maybe they don't take him at 10. That will be disappointing if the 10 pick comes and Bijan doesn't get his name called. Then it's kind of like not a free fall, but there's a potential to free fall or go to this Tennessee 11 spot, which we don't want. Go to New England here at this 14 spot. We don't want. Washington would be somewhat interesting. Tampa Bay I don't like. And the Chargers I would only like if Eckler was gone.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you heard too, is that the Ravens are trying to enter in on Bijan too. I don't know if they want to try to trade up and try to.
Right here, Steven. You missed it at the top of the show. Yeah, but you got that. It's the Ravens. Yeah, right here. The Ravens. I don't think that. I think that's smoke, but. The Ravens would have to trade up, I think. It would be crazy for them to expect him to fall. So it only makes sense that they would, if they wanted him, have to trade up. But I don't know. That seems like somebody speculating, some beat writer talking about it, and people carrying it on and discussing it. Because I don't think, first of all, no one's telling people what they're going to do. 99.999% of the time when you hear a team's going to trade up for a player, who in the hell is going to offer up that information inside an organization? The answer is nobody. So that's just people believe, like right here. It's in the words. It believes the Ravens could trade up. So that's his entire speculative, take, which could be accurate. But what?
Oh, no, I was just saying. You think that with the Falcons, with the Falcons leaking that out too? You think that they're just saying that just to say that, just to like what you're talking about? Because I feel like what you're saying too is that. If teams really feel like a certain way they're going to draft, they're not really going to be like, oh, hey, I'm going to draft this player. You know what I mean?
No one's going to offer up their true, take. Like, why on earth would you tip your hand? You wouldn't. The only thing that can happen is leaks. Like, you're wondering if these leaks are true. But that particular piece was written speculative, like, and people ran with it. I addressed it at the top of the show. The Ravens trading up for Bijan. That's what I do. Like, someone say, hey, the Philadelphia Eagles are taking Bijan. Look at Smitty said so. So, I mean, I did the same thing with this whole show. It's the same thing that this guy did with saying that he believes the Ravens could trade up. So there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just saying people are reporting on this as if like the Ravens are saying it. They're not. The Ravens aren't saying anything. It's just a spec piece. It's a prediction. The Eagles are in some ways saying they will potentially take Bijan because they've brought him in. They're one of 2 teams to actually bring Bijan in for a visit, which is weird to me that only 2 teams have brought him in for a visit. And we don't know how much because Bijan didn't really completely outline it and explain why. But it's weird to me that more teams didn't bring him in and he didn't want to go visit more teams if that's the case. But 2 teams brought him in. Tampa Bay, who I hope to God doesn't take him for a bunch of reasons. 1, I don't love the offense. Number 2, Baker sucks. Number 3, Rachaad White. We don't want that to go away. But I will say I don't have a great vibe about Rachaad White's career right now. And it's not because of his talent. It's just because, offensive line, Baker Mayfield, potential running back coming in. Do they really believe he's a workhorse? I think they do. They've made great comments about believing in him. But that could be smoke. They brought in Bijan Robinson. If I was drafting Bijan and I was the Bucs, probably the first thing I'd do is say, Rachaad White's our guy. You don't tip your hand. That's the nature of this game we're playing right now. That's smoke season, baby. Smoke season in a bunch of different directions. Not just smoke season to put out bad info, but smoke season to put out info to try and detour people away from knowing what you're going to do. But I love Rachaad White. He was a moon man last year, but it's hard for me to buy into his situation. And I like him a lot, and I'm still rooting for him, but it's hard for me to get out there and go, he's going to explode this year. We're hoping he gets a shot. If Rachaad White escapes the NFL draft, we will circle back, celebrate, and potentially put him immediately on the satellite man list. But we got to wait, and I'm not feeling good about it. And this is my prediction. I think he ends up being a Philadelphia Eagle. If he doesn't, I believe he does still have a strong shot at going before, which is the Bears or Falcons inside this Bijan row. And if he falls past 10, I'm a little bit worried about his landing spot because his top landing spots are inside that Bijan row territory. And these are them. Cincy and Buffalo are too far down to get him unless they trade up. So it's up to Chicago and Philly and Atlanta. It's up to those 3 teams inside this Bijan row territory to step up and put their balls on the line and not worry about the trends of the NFL or the fact that running backs shouldn't go early. This stupid stance that people keep spitting out there. Who cares? Who cares? He's not the same player. The running backs will return to the 27 to 31 range, okay? Calm down. This is Bijan Robinson. Open your eyes. He's worth a top 10 pick. He's worth a top 10 pick, plain and simple. Adam, you're live. Oh, Adam hung up. Yeah, so we'll see, bro. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm here for it. Super pumped.
No,
for this
I'm definitely excited too, man, to see where all these guys go. I think it's going to be interesting, especially like JSN. I'm curious to see where he goes too. He's another guy that be interesting to see what kind of landing spot he has.
Yeah, JSN's probably, in my opinion, I would say JSN's probably likely. God, if I had to drop a landing spot prediction, I'd probably say, I mean, Houston's going to take him if he's there, I believe, at 12. Tennessee's a real big threat to just snag one of these guys and just piss us all off. Someone's parade's going to be rained on, bro, at the wide receiver position. That's almost a certainty. I hope to God we get these 3 RBs into these landing spots so that we don't have that happening at the RB position. But it is very hard for me to imagine this NFL draft. Well, that's the wrong button. This NFL draft to not ruin one of these wide receivers' values, like Quentin Johnston, who's already kind of a little bit soft, but like raw, but has a lot of talent, goes to Tennessee. Say goodbye. Put Jordan Addison in Tennessee. I just don't think we're going to get what we want out of him. This is not, Tennessee's not a good situation for anybody. It's not a good situation for Bijan. It's not a good situation for a wide receiver. JSN goes to Tennessee. That's not good. Houston is probably the best landing spot of the landing spot. Like, he could go early though. I don't think the Lions will take him at 6. I think the Lions take, and I'm going to have a different video on this. I think the Lions take Mayer. I think the Lions draft Mayer at 18. That's going to be another prediction. They could go Kincaid, Mayer or Kincaid, but I think Mayer probably goes to Detroit. He's a Detroit pick. He fits Detroit. He's exactly what they need. With Jameson Williams, out for the first 6 games, this makes sense. It helps fill that void, but it doesn't necessarily take away from Jameson Williams' role when he comes back. You don't want to, shoot blanks and fill a position temporarily and then not have this wide receiver, if you were to take one at this spot, like have his role or bump or nudge one of the other wide receivers out. You don't need 3. You need Mayer. Mayer would be a fantastic fit. He'd be able to stay in his role and continue to grow in his role even when Jameson comes back. But it's certainly a move that helps St. Brown. It helps the Lions. I don't think they go wide receiver or tight end here. They probably go corner. If I had to guess, they go corner at 6. They go Mayer or Kincaid at 18. And so, I don't know. I feel like New England or Tennessee could crap all over one of these wide receiver values. I'm just hoping not.
Yeah.
Bears at 9 could go JSN if they don't go Bijan, or they go offensive line, which is probably more of the trendy pick, is that they go offensive line. But if they go Bijan or JSN, it's a phenomenal move. They can coach up defense a little bit easier than you can coach up a wide receiver into JSN or a running back into Bijan. That's for certain. And so we'll just have to see. That seems like the earliest. I don't think. I think the Bears at 9. The Bears at 9 for JSN, or 11, 12, 14. Green Bay could. I'm a worried William when it comes to Christian Watson escaping this 13. I hope Kincaid or Mayer go to the Green Bay Packers at 13. I feel like they want to address the wide receiver position and the tight end position almost equally. So we just got to hope, man, that this move up that they did in their Aaron Rodgers trade doesn't put Green Bay in this position to grab JSN or Jordan Addison or Zay Flowers, which I think it kind of does. I'm really, really worried about Christian Watson. I'm going to be so disappointed. I don't know we'll have to reassess what it does after the fact, but hopefully they take a tight end. Kincaid and Mayer at 13 and at number 18. We got to hope that those occur. Real quickly, Adam, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, Smitty?
What's up?
So I was sitting there thinking, if the Falcons take Bijan, then that gives us a better chance for Gibbs to get in the first round, and maybe even Charbonnet in the first round. Maybe the Eagles take Gibbs, and then the Bengals take Charbonnet, or vice versa or something. I'm just trying to think if there's any chance, for all 3 of them to get in the first round.
I mean, all 3 in the first.
I personally think they're all 3. I think they're all 3 personally first round talents.
Yeah, they all are. But yeah, the whole running backs don't go early, like it's gonna bleed in. But I think if the Bears go Bijan or the Falcons go Bijan, then obviously the Eagles at 30 are gonna be more inclined to maybe jump on that RB there, because then they're not gonna get him later. Cincinnati and Buffalo are still very much in play for Gibbs, I think. Charbonnet in Cincinnati would be fantastic. Cut, mix, and bring in Charbonnet. That would be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. That'd be beautiful.
But I have a feeling one RB. I have a bad feeling we're going to be a little disappointed. But hopefully two RBs going around 1. But it does depend on Bijan. Bijan will set the tone, because once he's off the board, and if he's off the board early, this later territory of Buffalo, Cincy, and Philly, that's going to definitely be like, okay, he's you're going to have the pressure of the second RBs could go at any moment. Whereas if, let's say, Bijan falls and falls and falls, you have none of that pressure. You know, you're like, oh, there's a lot of, not an RB's gone yet. We can still look at that later. Like, that's the way teams think of it. It's I don't know. It's upsetting.
I really think the Falcons are going to take him at 8. I really do. They took Pitt the year before, then they came back with London, and it just feels like they're trying to get back to, you know, what they used to be, especially on the offensive side. And he would fit perfectly. And Smith already likes to run the football. Like they ran the ball more than anyone last year, right? Pretty sure they did.
It'd be a shame.
It.
It'd be a shame for Algier, but Algier doesn't hold a candle to Bijan. So I'm not about, let's hold on to a good running back when we can get the best running back in the league. So clearly, I'm all about the Falcons, and the Falcons are on my board here of the top landing spots. There is a tier break and they're below. Mm-hmm. It's a small tier break. They are below, but they're on the list. These are the golden running back landing spots that we just hope and pray that all three of these guys fall into. And if they do, it's going to be a marvelous day. Just an absolute marvelous day. But Bijan to Philly, if Chicago and Atlanta don't step on this, Bijan to Philly, that's my prediction. Algier getting disrespected.
That'd be beautiful as well.
What do you expect, though, Bud Smoker? What do you expect? Algier to hold off Bijan Robinson? Like, he is getting disrespected, and it is kind of a shame. That's for sure. But when you're holding a draft selection that could land you Bijan Robinson, you almost got to take it, my man. And if they don't, if the Falcons say, hey, we are satisfied with Algier for the moment, let's go ahead and trade this pick down a little bit, and let's grab Hendon Hooker. That is the move to make if you're the Falcons. If you believe in Ritter, so be it. But I think Hendon Hooker would be a fantastic draft selection by the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know about at 8. I wouldn't even consider it a bad move if they took him at 8. Hendon Hooker, before his ACL tear, he would have been in the second or third quarterback rank spot. So I think Falcons should be preparing for that Ritter's not what they expect. And Hooker would be a fantastic selection. He'd be great for Pitts. He'd be great for London. So we'll see what they do. It's just 8's a little early. But he's been climbing. He's been climbing really high. But I like him a lot. Falcons are taking JSN, says Cage. I don't feel that. I don't feel that happening, bro. I don't think they take JSN and pair him with London and Pitts with really no, almost like a pea shooter at quarterback. I don't know. We'll have to see. Wouldn't be crazy. It's definitely like in the cards, but not the most likely. The Bears taking JSN at 9 is a lot more likely. The Bears taking Bijan or JSN versus offensive line is definitely something that I would do, and then I'd coach up the offensive line. I'd still attack the offensive line, but you can grab an offensive lineman in the second round and coach them up. You can't do that with Bijan. Bijan's Bijan. You're not going to be able to coach Algier into being Bijan as much as we like Algier. And Algier isn't being disrespected. He was a moon man from last year, my guy. We love Algier here. But this is Bijan. Okay?
Smitty, where do you think Zay's going to go?
Zay Flowers to the Chargers would be unreal, bro. I would love to see him. He's got to go to a good location. JSN's going to survive a little better anywhere. Zay Flowers, he needs to go to a place where we have one of these like top 7 quarterbacks. And if he does, Antonio Brown type potential. And keep in mind that this was, my number 1 wide receiver talent-wise coming into January when I don't consider anything else but what my eyes tell me. I don't let anything influence me. I don't let the buzz influence me. I don't care if the guy's number 7 across the industry and we're like, we got to worry about draft capital making. I don't care. In January, I do a talent-only evaluation. And sometimes it makes somebody stand out and stick out like a sore thumb. And sometimes that player doesn't even get drafted until the 5th or 6th wide receiver spot some years. So like I have to readjust it later, but I do an initial assessment and I walked away without any confusion too. It wasn't like I was like, oh, it's real close. Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is the number 1 wide receiver in this draft class. across the board in every category to me. But his landing spot's going to be vital. And if he goes to the Chargers, the sky is the limit for this kid. Maybe in year one, he doesn't pop off quite the way we would want, but long term, it's fantastic. Because I don't believe in Williams. I don't believe that Keenan Allen's got much time left at all. If he even has a full season left, he could probably just be in and out of the lineup. Zay Flowers is shifty. He's quick. He plays in an NFL where you can't contain a guy like him with his speed and his ability to move all around the field. The NFL set up perfectly for a player like that to just be wide open constantly, like Antonio Brown meets Steve Smith. I love him. I mean, would I love to see a JSN there or a Addison? Absolutely. Quentin Johnston, kind of raw and feels a little soft, but would love that as well. Hey guys, I gotta run. So Adam, any final thoughts real quick? And I'm gonna be back for the 7 p.m. show. Isaac, I'll get to you in a second.
Like I said, I just want to know where you thought Flowers was going to go.
Yeah.
You guys have a good one.
All right, Adam, call back later. We'll be back at 7 p.m. Isaac, you got 10 seconds. Isaac, 20 seconds. Go.
Tell me why the Cards wouldn't take Bijan. I know Will Anderson's there. They probably need it more, but this is a generational player. This is your team. Why are they not even being considered that they could snatch up Bijan? They have nobody. They have James Conner.
I'll tell you why.
Running backs don't go early. They just don't.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine why a team doesn't have the cojones to say, look, let me wheelbarrow these bad boys in, throw them on the table, put my cojones on the table and say, give me the number one player in the draft. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll surprise us, bro. Maybe I'll stand up and then pass out on the live stream. I don't know. I'm not sure. Cardinals could trade down.
It could happen.
They could trade down because, like a team like the Titans who want a quarterback could swap, and then the Cardinals could take him at 11 if he was to fall. But we're hoping, we're predicting that Bijan Rowe becomes a thing again, and these are the three top dogs to get him again. Because he fell back into like this territory for the last couple months. It's been pretty painful to be like, right when we started talking about this, we're like, he's going and Bijan Rowe is a lock. There's no way this guy falls out of the top 10. And then he started to like get projected around here. You had people like Mel Kiper going, he could go 10, he could go 9. And then Mel Kiper's next mock draft, the very next day, is like, Dallas will get him at 26. And it's like you got people that are just creating buzz that he's going at 26. He's not falling to 26. We're not idiots. But this is where he needs to go. Isaac, I got to jump. I'll be back at 7 p.m. Call in.
Man, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, call in then. Scuba Steve, call in at 7 p.m., all right?
All right, see you later, my man.
Later. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll be back in the studio soon. More predictions to drop. Appreciate you being here. On that note, get Bijan'd.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
That's right. Bijan would be my number 1 overall pick if I was a GM. See you all at 7 p.m.